Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to This Week in Gaming, your weekly gaming news recap. Today we have some major stories from huge game launches, epic patches, all the way to unfortunate shutdowns, layoffs, and potential acquisitions. Let's dive into it. Marvel Rivals, basically the Marvel version of Overwatch, is actually good. It launched with over 440,000 concurrent players on Steam alone, with reviews sitting at mostly positive. Players and critics are reporting that it's a solid take on the 6v6 hero shooter genre that reminds them of what made the original Overwatch so fun and engrossing. Players are enjoying the strong gameplay and excellent voice acting that brings the comic book characters to life in new ways without being tied down to their adaptations in the Marvel films. It's also receiving a lot of praise for the game's Battle Pass system, which doesn't expire. So if you buy the Battle Pass when the game launches, you can complete it whenever you want. All the game's characters are also unlocked by default, so you don't have to grind or complete arbitrary challenges to earn them. Overall, it's impressive how well the game is being received considering, well, how much it is just copying Overwatch. STALKER 2 has been out for a hot minute, generating some pretty positive reviews on Steam, but that wouldn't really paint a full picture of the state of the game. And if you're a player wondering why the game is poorly optimized and buggy, with some of the core features missing, like the advanced AI that was promised, well, the developers have a pretty honest answer. GSC Game World's CEO and creative director revealed in an interview that the studio simply couldn't continue working non-stop or delay the game further to push through the remaining bugs and features without completely exhausting the employees. Devs at the studio explained that A-Life, the advanced AI system that simulates all the NPCs in the game as part of a dynamic system in real time, isn't in STALKER 2 currently due to performance limitations. This was a staple of the original STALKER games, though their relatively simple terrain and isolated approach to the game world made it possible. They hope to be able to add this feature back in at some point down the road, though Unreal Engine 5 is incredibly demanding, so hopefully they can find that performance overhead somewhere. GSC has released 3 patches since STALKER 2's launch that have improved massively on the reported bugs and balance problems. Overall, it seems like players are still really enjoying the experience despite the many bugs and optimization issues. Indina Jones and the Great Circle reviews are pouring in with high praise for the first-person action-adventure game. It was developed by Machine Games, who helmed the recent Wolfenstein games to great acclaim, though the most recent one was more of a mixed bag. Reviewers are praising the game's dedication to the source material, the incredible environments, and the good hybrid of stealth and action gameplay. For a while now, rumors and leaks have suggested that Ubisoft were going to pull the plug on XDefiant, and unfortunately, it finally happened this week. The first-person shooter was billed as a traditional 6v6 FPS that harkened back to the golden years of Call of Duty. Despite mostly living up to that description, it seemingly failed to capture a big enough audience. Leaks suggested that the game was on the chopping block for months before the official announcement. Most of those leaks pointed at lower than expected player counts and revenue as a key factor. As part of the shutdown, 277 developers are getting laid off by Ubisoft. These layoffs add to a growing pool of over 14,000 game developers who have lost their jobs this year alone. That's 4,000 more than last year, which was a pretty brutal year for the industry. Ubisoft are still allegedly in talks with Tencent for a potential buyout that would give the Chinese mega corporation more oversight and control of the French developer. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds creator Brendan Green finally revealed the new project his studio is working on. The studio is currently developing 3 core things: a massive open-world survival game with procedural terrain generation called Prologue, a playable tech demo called Preface Undiscovered World, and Project Artemis, which will combine the work of these projects into a future game. Prologue is being developed in Unreal Engine, with the end goal being a survival sim that features a massive open world with reactive weather systems and procedural generation, so no 2 playthroughs will happen on the same map. When it rains, for example, the environment will get wet, affecting your character's vitals and also how slippery the ground is for them. Preface, on the other hand, is basically a tech demo you can download on Steam right now that generates an Earth-sized world you can fly around and walk on. It's using an all-in-house engine Green's team have been working on to facilitate the scale that they're aiming for. So far, the Steam reviews are mostly negative, but it seems mostly like people are expecting gameplay and not an actual tech demo with nothing meaningful to do. Helldivers 2 is slowly reversing the damage it's done to its reputation when Sony suddenly required players to log in with a PlayStation account to continue playing the game. Aside from the frustration of needing yet another login to play the game, this had an unintended side effect of locking tens of thousands of players out of the game entirely, since a significant portion of the world doesn't even support PlayStation accounts. Thankfully, Sony dropped the requirement but still pulled the game from sale in unsupported regions. Reviews on Steam have been mostly positive lately thanks to the reversal and continued stream of solid updates for the game. In other PlayStation news, a 30th anniversary update was released for the PlayStation 5 that included the PS1 boot up sequence. There's also an anniversary themed controller, PlayStation Portal, and PS5. Unfortunately for fans of the retro PS5 theme, it's a limited time ordeal. Once PlayStation pulls the plug, you won't be able to use the theme at all. Valve may be rolling out a new line of hardware powered by SteamOS. They announced new branding guidelines that include a powered by SteamOS graphic intended for use on hardware running the SteamOS operating system. Before the Steam Deck proved to be a mega hit with gamers, Valve tried dipping their toes into the pre-built gaming PC market with Steam Machines, a line of third-party pre-built PCs running Valve's then immature version of SteamOS that lacked Proton. The line of machines failed to sell and the whole thing basically discontinued 3 years after launching in 2018. But with the Steam Deck being a runaway success and SteamOS proving to be a great way to play games on Linux, it seems very likely that we may be in for round 2 of Steam Machines or some additional Steam Deck-like devices made by third-party manufacturers. The Delta Force open beta finally launched this week to mixed reviews but a pretty healthy player count. Despite being a remarkably faithful clone of Battlefield 2042 with a polished presentation and being relatively stable, players seem let down by the game's use of kernel-level anti-cheat and aggressive monetization. Delta Force is totally free to play and will eventually add a full campaign to its current offerings of a sandbox multiplayer and extraction modes. But someone's got to pay for it all, and it seems like the game is targeting players with lots of free time and cash to burn. The Battle Pass features 150 levels with tons of crates that give out gameplay affecting items for the extraction mode. But beyond some of the monetization and anti-cheat concerns for the game, the player base seems to be pretty divided. Some saying that it's really not bringing anything new to the FPS realm, and others defending it, saying that it's doing a better job than the games that it's copying. In our final story this week, the highly anticipated Path of Exile 2, a massive action RPG, blew past the developers' expectations with over 1 million players buying into the game's early access launch. The game will eventually be free to play like the original Path of Exile, but it's currently $30 on PC and consoles while it's in early access. Now, at the time of writing this story, the game hasn't unlocked yet, but considering the hype around it, you can likely expect server queue times, as outlined by the developers in an announcement breaking the insane sales record. That wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. If you want to support the news show, give us a like, subscribe for more content like it, and ding that notification bell to make sure you don't miss an episode. Up next, check out my video covering the open beta of Delta Force and what I think about it. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.